Oh.
Here we go.
Well, hold on.
Hold on. Welcome back to the Convo Couch, everyone. Pasta Jardula here.
Jesus Christ. What's up, guys? It's V.
And Osland with the overalls is on the ones and twos. How you doing there, Osland?
Fantastic.
Fantastic. Oh, that's a new shirt.
Fantastic. That's a little... That was cheesy for me, but could work. I don't know.
You know, for pasta, that's like right in the wheelhouse.
Yeah. That's like
cheese McGee's. Love it. Guess who was in the door first today, fam? Take
Trey.
a guess. Trey Wright in the door. What's up? Love you all. Love you too, Trey.
Oh, Trey, we love you. Oops.
And then there's Kristen Nye. Thank you for the Super Ray contribution. It is always appreciated on the couch.
It's too much.
Fam, you know who's too much?
You?
No. Worse than me? Take a guess.
AOC?
Yeah, but worse than AOC.
I don't know about worse, but
there is somebody, the shit libs in progressives in California that have allowed Gavin Newsom to go back in power. Now, first off, fam, I wouldn't trust the results anyways when it comes to the elections, because unlike some other states,
right-winger.
I know, right? Like some states where they're actually pushing for more transparency, more securities, more checks and balances, California's gone the opposite way.
Right.
In fact, if Johnny wanted to go down to the tabulation machine room yesterday, no cameras allowed.
Which there's not a rule of that specifically. It's just that they're saying that the Secretary of State can decide whatever they want, which is, I mean, we can have, we're going to have to argue that in a court, and because it's just bullshit, because you should be able to have cameras. In fact, you should be able to have the public see everything that happens, not just journalists, but the public itself.
Yeah. And we had a mass mail-in ballot situation, so all the ballots that went everywhere,
random holes in the ballots, see-through ballots. Shit. What else? The ballot harvesting aspect, where there's no chain of custody. You don't know who picks it up, who drops it off. The machines, of course, are proprietary software. So even if you can't say that this election was rigged, like a lot of the right is saying, you can't say it wasn't, because we can't prove it. We can't prove it either way. We don't have audits. They're still not done counting, by the way. But
and they called it a 55%. Fam.
Yeah, but that's okay because it was a Democrat. But when they waited forever to call it because it was Donald Trump, that like they switch their I guess their measures depending on what's convenient, which is what I hate about liberals, is like they go where the wind blows and they play team sports.
They do. Well, fam, I got to go back on Uncle Ronnie's show tonight. Phone call 7:30 again, because he wants to know what is up. What's going to happen now that Gavin Newsom is back in power? So you can see slide number 3. Let's just jump right into it, Osland. California Governor Newsom, Gavin Newsom, with the best hair in the business, beat back the GOP-led recall. Still framing it as that. That's what they did the whole nation. This is about the Republicans. That's the thing that's so scary. I kind of went after somebody yesterday on Instagram who's not really in the bubble. I used to work with him, but he was bragging about fighting against impending fascism.
Sorry.
No, I went after him, and he was like, I'm not holding back anymore. This is ridiculous, because, like I said, we can't stand by these numbers, because the framework and the system is so fucking shot. Like, another thing we're going to talk about when we get to this list of questions I have for the registrar, Dean Logan, and the Secretary of State. It's all just fucked up, right? We can't rely on that system. However, the shit libs, which were the progressives and training wheels, which Steve Poikonen said this back in the day, you guys need to stop dealing with these people. These people, progressives, are just got training wheels on to be the shit libs of tomorrow. Well, yesterday, they officially, fam, became the shit libs of today. And I'm fucking losing my shit when I see Mark Safe from Larry Elder on the blue flag and shit, stupid shit like that. Meanwhile, this fucking awful governor, who was terrible when it comes to the economy, shut down small business.
They traded one shit sandwich for the other shit sandwich. Like they're both shit sandwiches, but like they made Larry Elder like the right-wing boogeyman, right? Like the Trump,
the Trumpism
of the whole election. And this was not just like shit libs saying this. This was like PSL, Green Party members. I had to go through to find the one Green Party member that was for the recall, because the vast majority of them are out there protecting the Democrats that have screwed them continuously for fucking decades. Yeah. And that to me means you don't understand power, you don't understand reality, and you are a CUCK, because guess what? They haven't given you anything. And so now what I'm seeing is all these shit libs tweet, oh, it would be a great day for Medicare for all. It's a great day, Gavin. Why would he give that to you when you protected him when he gave you nothing? It makes zero logical sense.
Well, I mean, Glenn Greenwald said like the progressive relationship with the establishment is that of like a sadomasochist.
Yep.
And the more that the progressives get abused, the more they comply, the more they capitulate. And that is what's happened here. And it's really a sad fucking day, because it's yeah, and we're going to get into it right now, because it says right here, Sacramento, California AP, California Gavin Newsom on Tuesday defeated a recall aimed at kicking him out of office early, a contest the Democrats framed as part of a national battle for his party's values in the face of the coronavirus pandemic and continued threats of Trumpism. They won't let it go, fam. They won't let it go. And do you have your throw-up bag ready? Because we have the speech from Gavin Newsom, the victory speech, fam.
Oh, God, do we have to?
We have to, because he gives up a lot of keys. The first part is the most important, because he gives you a little hint of what's to come. So let's take a look at Gavin McFuck Newsom.
Tonight here in the state of California. But no is not the only thing that was expressed tonight. I want to focus on what we said yes to as a state. We said yes to science. We said yes to vaccines. We said yes to ending this pandemic. We said yes to people's right to vote without fear of fake fraud or voter suppression. We said yes to women's fundamental constitutional right to decide for herself what she does with her body and her fate and future. We said yes to diversity. We said yes to inclusion. We said yes to pluralism. We said yes to all those things that we hold dear as Californians, and I would argue as Americans: economic justice, social justice, racial justice, environmental justice, our values where California has made so much progress. All of those things were on the ballot this evening.
Fam, he said right out of the gate. Can everybody hear that good out there? Make sure you can hear that good. He said, they said yes to vaccines, yes to mandates, yes to masks. It's coming. And then he did the old neoliberal shit lib, neo-progressive crap. It's about inclusivity. We said no racism and blah, 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 and all this other bullshit, kind of like, but fam, it's coming. It's coming. This speech sometimes makes me think, was it a setup, this whole situation? So once they kind of double stamp the fact that, no, Californians are for vaccines, they're for max mandates, here it comes. Because now with the victory last night, the vaccine mandates are coming. You're going to have vaccine passports or whatever the fuck you call them to get in a restaurant. It's coming, and it's coming hardcore, mask, the whole 9 yards. And they're still standing behind this shit, fam.
I mean, they're already like pushing they're already wearing masks and stuff. That's beside the point. It's the passports and the mandates are the thing that I think is the most dangerous, especially the passports, because once that happens, it will be very, very authoritarian. You're going to have to make people who work in restaurants, people who work retail, become cops and demand people's entire history. You're also demanding that people put this whole jab into themselves without having a choice, while simultaneously demanding my body, my choice for women, which is hypocritical to say the least. And then also it's this whole idea where the progressive, what was left of the Bernie movement, whatever, that's all gone. The vast majority of them have become the new liberals, like we said in the beginning, and now they're pretty much regurgitating mainstream media talking points. They become the fascists that they say they're fighting. Very much, pro-doxing, destroying people's lives, like that TikTok video I was talking about that guy going after that woman, getting people fired from their jobs, pro people dying because they're unvaccinated, pro people not getting hospital care because they're unvaccinated, pro people who are unvaccinated going somewhere else. They have become the Nazis. They so fervently say they want to punch in the face. Punch yourself, because that's what you are. And that is the reality where we're at here.
Oz, if you can turn the volume up on this next part just so we can hear a little bit more. Fam, you got to listen to the way that Gavin Newsom, it's about the children. It's about the kids, and we can't play political football. But Trump still is wrong.
This evening. And so I'm humbled and grateful to the millions and millions of Californians that exercise their fundamental right to vote and express themselves so overwhelmingly by rejecting the division, by rejecting the cynicism, by rejecting so much of the negativity that's defined our politics in this country over the course of so many years. And I just think of our kids watching all of this. Nightly news, day in and day out. And I just wonder, I've got 4 young kids. Oldest about to turn 12 this weekend. And what they're growing up to. In a world where we're so divided, these kids increasingly fearful, isolated, disconnected, and we're teaching them that. And it doesn't have to be that way. I think we owe our kids a deeper sense of respect, and all of us as adults a responsibility to disregard this false separateness. We're so much more in common as a state and a nation that we give ourselves.
I see Oz about to throw stuff in the studio, fam.
It's just ridiculous because he's talking about separation, and that's exactly what they're doing. They're fucking separating people based on the status of their health. They're fucking vaccinating, or they're separating people based on elitist class structures. They have done nothing but separate people, but divide us.
Yeah. And, during this whole time, fam, I didn't go into the treasure chest of talking about Gavin Newsom and his relationship of sleeping, I believe, with his campaign manager's wife. There was a big scandal, all that shit. I didn't go into that fucking part, but this whole part where he comes up and he talks about, I think about the children. Like, we have to set an example. Like, who the fuck are you, you piece of crap? You stood behind the worst people. You've taken the worst money. You've taken oil money. You've taken real estate money. You've taken Hollywood jerk-off money. You know what I'm saying? This guy is the worst of the worst. He is a fascist. He is part of the corporations that merge with the states. That's who he works for. So it's just disgusting when you hear him talk. But fam, there's more. It gets better.
Oh, God.
I've been all over the state of California over the last many years, but notably in the last 9 months. Conservative parts of the state, progressive parts of the state, folks that I know were going to vote no, and folks that I knew were going to vote yes on this recall, and turned out to do just that. But one thing that's universal, everybody wants to be respected. Everyone wants to feel some connection to one another. We all certainly in this pandemic want to feel safe, protected. And those are universal values. And I think about just in the last, few days, and the former president put out saying this election was rigged. Democracy is not a football. You don't throw it around. It's more like antique vase. You can drop it and smash it in a million different pieces. And that's what we're capable of doing if we don't stand up to meet the moment and push back.
So let's bring us together. But once again, the Trumpism, right? He's blaming Donald Trump. Will not stop. We have to push back. This is all about separation. This is all about division. This is all about getting people on one side or the other, picking teams. And it's scary what's going to happen in California in the next couple months once these evictions start kicking in and what happens, whatnot. You know what I'm saying? And, California might be progressive or neo-progressive in LA, but outside those areas, you start going north. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's scary times ahead. Oz, we got 2 more quick videos. If we can jump up the volume just a little bit more. Number 9.
I said this many, many times on the campaign trail. We may have defeated Trump, but Trumpism is not dead in this country. The big lie, January 6th insurrection, all the voting suppression efforts that are happening all across this country, what's happening, the assault on fundamental rights, constitutionally protected rights of women and girls. There's a remarkable moment in our nation's history. But I'm reminded of something, I don't know, a few decades ago, someone told me when describing a difficult and challenging moment, said, the world is too small, our time is too short, and our wisdom is too limited to win fleeting victories at other people's expenses. And he went on to say, we must all triumph together.
Fam, he didn't mention Russia. If he mentioned Russia, he mentioned January 6th, he mentioned the voting laws, he mentioned Trumpism. If he mentioned Russia, I would have had bingo. But he mentioned everything else. And then the final one, is there one last one?
Skip it.
So in that spirit of recognizing and reconciling this moment and trying to understand what's going on, not just here in this state, but all across the United States of America, I just want to say this. Tonight, I'm humbled, grateful, but resolved in the spirit of my political hero, Robert Kennedy, to make more gentle the life of this world. Thank you all very much, and thank you to 40 million Americans, 40 million Californians, and thank you for rejecting this recall. Good night, everybody.
Fam.
I hate you for making me watch all those videos.
Fam, like, did you see the party almost cried? And thank you so much. You can see the numbers, dude. They called it with less than 60%. They called it around 55%. There was one, I got the CBS one right here. Oz can put up. You can see it's 59% reporting, right? So that's about 8 million votes. They got about 7 million more votes going in, right? Why would they call it so early, fam? Couldn't there be a swing? I mean, there was last election for the main,
statistically, it would be impossible for the other guy to catch up.
That's what they would say, right? When it favors them.
When it favors them.
When it favors them, that's what they say. You know what I'm saying? And here's some questions I have. I just put up really quick 4 questions. I'm going to put them up real quick. All right, well, the ballots. There were supposedly, you can see that was number 1. When it came to the ballots, they mailed them out to everybody on the voter rolls. Now, the Secretary of State said 2 weeks ago before the election that there were 22 million registered voters. So if we have 17 million votes total, what happens to the other 5 million ballots? Is there any chain of custody when they're mailed out, right? What's the procedure if a voter, never received the ballots and it goes back? I mean, can we see these records? That's one thing. We have all these ballots out there, 5 million ballots that were in Canada that were mailed out. Where are they? Well, they're thrown in the trash. Did they go back to the place that, sends them out? The contractors, K&H. What's the chain of custody process? Where can we see these records? Number 2, the drop boxes. Were they fairly placed throughout the state this time? Because we had no information on that. Who's checking on the chain of custody forms, right? In Georgia, they just went back and said, can we see the chain of custody forms for these drop boxes? Well, they didn't have chain of custody forms for 70% of the drop boxes. Where can we see these records? Who's checking on that? What about the vote centers, right? Have you followed up on these people who were forced to sign provisional ballots because they said they were already casted a vote when they said they didn't vote? How many people had this issue? How many people? Where can we see these records? And finally, the tabulation process. Did you process? Because this is something they're keeping secret now. The ballots early again, when they push them through the machine, we don't count them. We just process through the machine. So on election night, we hit a button. Bullshit. There's already a count in the back of the house. Show us the records to make sure you didn't look at it. They never did it. This was Raji Rob's case. Why aren't you allowing cameras in the tabulation room now? Do you know that, ladies and gentlemen, in LA, they're not allowing cameras in the tabulation room, in the press room, where they were always allowed to be kept, where you can keep cameras. Are we still running the same proprietary software? We've been told in California, we are getting an open source system. When are we getting the open source system as promised? When do we get the source code? Where can we see these records? And I just want to point this out because California of elections, we're going backwards when it comes to transparency. We're going backwards when it comes to more insight, more protections, fam. We are going backwards, period. And these are the questions I have to ask, because we also know about the voter registration books, right? The voter registration books, unfortunately, you're not allowed to look at them now. You can't even request that information. They made it harder. Padilla did it on the way out. So now we can't even look at those booklets, fam. So that is what's going on. You have some shit libs, I think you said.
Yeah, so Michael Moore congratulated Gavin Newsom in his landslide victory. You crushed it. Another huge loss for Trump and Republicans. There's that narrative again. The American people do not want these hateful idiots in charge of anything. Gavin, keep moving California forward. Your state is the progressive leader. California is a neoliberal wet dream. It is not progressive.
Yeah.
Charlotte, whatever her name is, Governor Gavin Newsom was elected with 61.9% of the vote. Last night, 63.9% of California voters chose to stick with him. The GOP spent $276 million in taxpayer money for Governor Newsom to outperform his 2018 landslide victory. The GOP wasn't the only one spending money. That it's everybody. The taxpayers have a right to demand something more for their government. We're going to have to pay that back. We're going to have to pay that back because the California Constitution says so, which that I have a problem with, having to pay Gavin Newsom. Jen Perlman.
Oh, you want to do Pelosi?
Oh, Pelosi. Congratulations, Governor Gavin Newsom, and to his people of California. And saying no to the recall, voters said yes to science, yes to fighting climate change. By the way, takes money from big oil. Yes to equality and civil rights. Apparently, civil rights include mandates. And yes to a brighter future for our children as we hashtag Build Back Better than before. Klaus Schwab would approve of the Build Back Better slogan. And the last one I wanted to show is Jen Perlman. The California recall election was not rigged. The GOP simply got their ass kicked. Stop taking corporate money and start servicing working people, or you'll experience more of this in the midterms. So the GOP
both sides
obviously can get their asses kicked. Sure, there are more Democrats in California than there are Republicans. However, a lot of people beyond the Republican specter were upset with Gavin Newsom.
Yeah.
You can't say that it wasn't or was because you don't have the evidence of either end because we have proprietary software. Again, Jen, you refuse to call out your own election. So you're the last person I'm going to listen to when it comes to deciding if an election is rigged or not.
Yeah, she doesn't even know the rules in your own state. You don't know the rules here in California. But that's the thing. All these shit libs can easily go, oh, it wasn't rigged. It was fair. It was this and that. They don't know anything about what's going on. They have no clue about how it works. And you cannot stand behind the system where there's no transparency whatsoever. And like I said, we are going backwards when it comes to California elections. So please, everybody, we should be pushing for transparency. We should be pushing for election reform because you know who it's going to cost? You progressives.
So for the lack of time, I'm just going to go ahead and go on to this one. This is a very short section.
Sure.
So Nina Turner joined TYT. This is something we have been talking about, how Nina Turner capitulated to the establishment during her campaign run. We have been talking about how she started getting cozy with the squad. And so this is of no surprise to those of us who have been, seeing the writing on the wall, but it is of a surprise to a lot of people who are actually very upset about this and who feel like there was a dagger to their heart. Nina Turner had also hired the same idiots that screwed over the Bernie Sanders campaign for her campaign, including several of the people here that were some of the worst. So again, no surprise to us, but here it is. You guys can see what Oz has it. I see what you're saying. Yeah. That Oz has it. And there it is. She joins TYT, will regularly host the Young Turks, the Damage Report, Indisputable TYT, and the Conversation. Watch TYT live on YouTube. And blah, blah, blah. So there it is. She's going to be joining all those shows. And I wanted Oz to, if you can click on the actual thread, I wanted to look at some of the responses that people had. Most people responded negatively. I don't know if you can do that. That's why I put the link.
Picture up there. Yeah.
Okay. If you can click on the link, I don't know if that's possible because I'm just going to go ahead and read some of the responses that people have.
Got it up.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's in the same order, but yeah, it's not, but it's a little far for me to read. But let me find this one. So this person said, well, I guess it should have been expected after her last year failing to hold progressives accountable in any meaningful way. Obama broke me. None of these faux activist sellouts politicians should be a surprise at this point. And then this is just really bad. JB Flaunt, and when we on the left criticized her from the left, you had people getting hot, mad at us for doing so. You had some people seething at us, and now, are you paying attention now? Like, exactly. A lot of people have been, were tricked. And now, people are disappointed. It's predictable. I just wanted to do a quick mention of that and what it means. Nina Turner joining TYT. It's more than just Nina Turner joining TYT. It means that a lot of these politicians are for sale. Even if they're not taking corporate money, that doesn't mean that they're not selling out. It just means that they're taking money from working people to do nothing for them, to parade and charade like they are working class advocates, but really they're trying to get their own, and I understand trying to like make sure you have some sort of income to do the things you want to do. This isn't it. TYT has been exposed as a neoliberal light network. There's absolutely no reason for Nina Turner to join TYT if she wants to actually enact change. But there is a reason, because it is a large progressive network. There's millions of dollars involved in TYT. And of course, this is why she was extremely non-critical of the squad. She was not, all about the force of vote. So it just makes sense to me that she would go this route. And it just, I think this is another reason why people who haven't been listening to people like us and people who have been, we get called cynical or too negative. It's like, no, dude, we're telling you what's going to happen because it's going to fucking happen. It's not hard to predict. When people put money and their fame above actual issues, and when they've actually made money and they've made a career out of grifting the progressive movement, which is the vast majority of the Justice Democrats and now all of these people running, it's not hard to see where they're going to go. So,
Ron's song that it's love me, love me, love me, I'm a liberal. It should be love me, love me, love me, I'm a shit lib. They've officially graduated last night, fam. I don't give a shit what anybody tries to tell you right now. They've officially graduated, and like I said, I will never, ever trust a system that it has zero transparency in it and so many corporate fingers are all over it when it comes to our election system. But there is no hiding the fact that these shit libs, these progressives, came out in full force of Gavin Newsom. They tried to make Larry Elder look like Trump. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't surprise me when it comes to Nina Turner over here, right? Going on, we will regularly guest host the Young Turks.
I mean, by the way, just
regularly,
and just reminding everybody, TYT lied about Syria. They lied about Russia. They lied about Julian Assange. They are some of the worst propagandists out there, especially because they mask themselves as progressive, which makes them worse because they still trick people. And by the way, Nina Turner literally gave accolades to AOC for her dress situation, which we'll talk about in the next segment. But if you want to go over the Super Rays real quick.
Well, the damage report with Ida Rolla has got to be one of the most boring fucking shows I've ever seen in my life.
I've never seen it.
I'd rather watch grass grow or paint dry. It's that bad. But that is TYT. Not only do they suck at their information, they're boring too. Rob McMurtry said, spent some time in Facebook jail for commenting on AOC's dress that we need to guillotine the rich rather that tax them.
Yep,
thank you so
agreed.
much. Reed Barker, thank you for the Super 8 contribution. Always appreciate it on the couch. Hunter Carranza, Vegas loves the Convo Couch, and the Convo Couch loves Vegas, and we love you, Hunter and Ty. We love you, fam. Hunter, Ty, and Coffee. Aw, the dog. Keep screaming the truth. We're with you all the way. Coffee is a beautiful black female German Shepherd. Aww. She is just a little cutesy. She loves to get pet and hang on out. Kimberly S., thank you. I'm hopeful seeing groups of people across New York, from New York City to Buffalo, all standing up against the medical tyranny. The Worldwide Freedom Rally is this weekend. Hashtag, we will be there. Find your local group or form one. Yeah. Thank you, Kimberly S. And that is, I believe, too, as well. They're going to be out in D.C. at the gates of the Capitol demanding that they release the 32 prisoners they still have. They've been holding since January 6th. Newsy 26. Yeah, total voter suppression by fucking cheating the people out. Keep spreading the truth, Convo Couch. And we will. And the whole thing about it is like, well, people are like, can you prove that? Could you prove that? I'm like, no, but you can't prove that it's true because there's no transparency. We have to have a system where we, the people, and get these contractors the fuck out of there. No offense. No offense to you too, brother. We love you. WWE superstars do it better. I know, right? They do it better than Gavin Newsom. Sophia, thank you so much for the Super Ray contribution. We two old lefty boomers who remember the left of our youth and looked on with horror as they turned into unquestioning zombies whose brains fell out of the back of their skulls when Trump got elected. Love you both.
Selected.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. Oh, dude.
Yeah.
And yeah, they went crazy. They went complete shit libs. They were like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Fam, it's the same thing now. What would happen if Larry Elder got in? What would happen? You have a super majority Democratic Party. They wouldn't allow him to do shit. The only thing they would have been able to do, he would have been able to do, is mask mandates. He would have eliminated them. Vaccine mandates. He would have eliminated. So that was the one thing.
They would have fundraised either way.
Yeah. Merritt Holloway, thank you so much. Hey, the Convo Couch, Bakersfield, California. I wish I could afford more. Unfortunately, the live stream is not working on Rokfin. Fuck Newsom, Biden, and the rest of them. Tina is a sellout. Thanks for your shout outs also. Merritt Holloway, thank you so much. I think you meant
Nina, but
yeah, he said Nina's a sellout. Oh, Tina's a sellout.
But okay.
All right. Do you want to get into the section, or do you want to? Yeah, let's do this. We're gonna get into the section, and then we'll bring Garland on after, fam. So let's talk about this. Oz put them all up for you, so go right ahead.
Okay, so this section is going to be on AOC's elitist manipulations while ignoring these protesters, because AOC kind of went into this as the queen of revolution, wearing a tax the rich shirt or dress that looks like a Chick-fil-A cutout, right? Which is really fucking hilarious. When you see it, you can't unsee it. But here's Marie's tweet exposing the do as I say, not as I do. Freedom for me, but not for thee. Look at the masked proles carrying the train of the dress of the socialist Yas Queen, AOC, who is unmasked, because only sophisticated elitist people do not get to wear a mask. And by the way, all of the people in attendance had to be vaccinated to attend, which means that either they made an exception for the workers, or they think the workers, even if they are vaccinated, are less worthy of being unmasked than they are. So let's watch this video.
Sam, one thing I want to say was we keep an eye out, guys. Watch all the people attending, no mask. All the servants, mask.
Yes, AOC!
And I'm just disgusted too by the celebrity fandom around AOC, right? Like, it's like she's not a politician. She's not a public servant. She's now a Hollywood Instagram influencer, right? That's all she is. Like, oh my God, yes, AOC, yes, queen. Like, okay, cool. Do that for fucking, like, I don't give a shit, for whatever, a celebrity. But she's a public servant. She's not there for you to worship her. She's there to make laws. That's what the legislative branch does. I don't know if we need to go back to basic high school. The legislative branch makes laws. What law has she made that has even fucking like a little bit helped the working class? Zero, none whatsoever.
Don't offend Oz. Oz's favorite politician is AOC. Let's how about the next one?
Don't smear Oz like that. Okay, he doesn't deserve that.
Oz just throwing stuff in the studio.
He's gonna quit right now. He's gonna shut the stream down with your fucking smears.
You know the thing about it, real quick too, fam, is this, that the people who praise her, they're very narcissistic. They come off as like, oh, I want to help people, but they want to be like her.
No, they want to be.
They want to be like her. They want, oh, look how special it is. She's adored. That's what they want.
Yep.
And they disguise themselves as progressive, fighting for the people.
Yep.
They're not.
No.
That's the majority of you progressives out there.
Cosplay,
narcissistic,
socialism, cappuccino communism, cosplay revolutionary. It's just fake. Bullshit. That's really what it is. Look, the poor don't get to show their faces. You can look at the camera people and look at all the people behind. I've done that sort of thing, like where you're just like a I don't know, like a promo model of what sorts, and then you just you're just there, and then look at these people right there. I mean, this is like, disgusting. I like, what the hell? And you know what? These people are working for very low wages, likely like a $20 an hour something gig. Yep. And that's it. Like, and look, peg the patriarchy. Yeah, because wearing a shirt that says peg the patriarchy is going to end the patriarchy when Hollywood is run by a bunch of fucking fascist, pedophile, like anti-women pieces of shit like Harvey Weinstein and Jeffrey Epstein, who RIP. Like, I honestly, like, it's just and you know what? She's a fucking model and an actress. AOC is supposed to be a public servant, but yeah, I don't know, guys.
All Gavin's friends. Yeah, all Gavin's friends run Hollywood. That's exactly. Who's in the league with too as well. So what's the next one, fam?
So this one is
Marie again, just nailing it, Miss Fonseca.
Marie, yeah, putting it out there. So Marie pointed this out and from this other tweet where the NYPD made brutal arrest outside of the Met Gala a few minutes ago, and that was what was happening as she was getting arrested, or as she was getting accolades at the Met Gala. And she said cops are literally beating the shit out of actual protesters while she is inside doing her stunt. So let's watch this again.
Since you have refused to leave the roadway, you will be placed under arrest on a charge of disorderly conduct. If you do not cooperate and accompany the arrest, since you have refused to leave the roadway, you will be placed on.
So AOC ignored all of that happening. We showed it the other day with Jonny, but I wanted to show this video too, because while AOCIA was pushing symbolic sweet nothings reminiscent of Marie Antoinette's "Let Them Eat Cake," reality set in outside was working people actually taking action. This man says, "We done, we dying, and nobody cares. Nobody fucking cares," as they're inside in the Met Gala wearing their thousands of dollar dresses and sitting in their hundreds of thousands of dollar table and eating all this great food while these people are out there. Take a look at what he says.
AOCIA's fan put number 26. Let's roll it.
We dying, and nobody cares. Nobody cares. Celebrities don't care. Police don't care. The president don't care.
Exactly.
Could you play that one more time? That was powerful.
We dying, and nobody cares. Nobody cares. Celebrities don't care. Police don't care. The president don't care.
This is what they don't want you to see. This is the kind of rage from the working class, especially from a black man that's getting arrested by cops. While AOC has been talking about BLM and you know, all cops are bastards. Same thing with Cori Bush. All these people, they're performers. They're not really doing anything. And it's just really, really like unnerving to see like poor people screaming outside for justice while she's in there. And then her sycophants give her accolades like, well, it was trending on Twitter like for days. So now, you really think these people are going to like give up more money for you? What level of? It's just so stupid.
People were saying that I saw somebody put a comment. She threw a stink bomb in there by wearing that dress. That's what she did. Like, are you fucking kidding me? You guys are so fucking dumb.
They're delusional.
Like, really, you guys are delusional at this point. The sycophanty craziness towards AOCIA is just ridiculous. And then now you have douchebags out there in the independent media saying, well, you have AOC derangement syndrome that you always go after. Like, get the fudge out of here. But anyways, we're gonna have our guest on a little bit. Let's just finish up this section.
Yeah, we'll just
about 5-6 minutes and we'll have him right on.
Okay, so I wanted to point this out because how coordinated this was, right? Because she said to Biden, because Biden made a tweet and he said something, it's time for super wealthy and big corporations to pay their fair share of taxes. And then she said, couldn't agree more. Taxing the rich will help us expand Medicare, extend childcare, take action on climate, and so much more. We have a precious opportunity right now on reconciliation with the Build Back Better Act, and we should use it. The Build Back Better, again, we're going back to the Great Reset. This is obviously a coordinated PR stunt. I mean, look at how well she is like retweeting what Biden is saying. So now, even if they quote unquote tax the rich more, what are the rich going to do? The rich control the means of production. They're just going to produce more wealth for themselves. This is just nothing but neoliberal bullshit that they're trying to use to pacify the masses that are getting upset in order to prevent any sort of actual revolt. That is what's happening. That is what AOC's role is. And you can look at Steve's, get it meme, because the dress says it right there. The poor are stupid. fucks. I think that's what it says, or the poor are stupid, whatever. It's like they think the poor are stupid, and many unfortunately are falling for the same type of bullshit that the liberals, you know, have been doing for decades. This is now, again, there's no separation between these progressives and these liberals. And again, look at the sycophant right here. People like AOC get invited. She didn't pay $30K to attend the Met Gala. She also didn't pay for that dress. Fee, you and the rest of your friends be up all night. All be up tonight posting the same stuff, but whatever main forum or group y'all got this from forgot to fact check their stuff. Like, it doesn't even make sense. Who cares if she paid? By the way, she didn't. Or it wasn't paid for her. Somebody paid the tab, but who cares? That the point is you're making her out to be an elitist, and you're okay with that. You're okay that somebody is footing the tab of a $30,000 entrance fee. You're okay that billionaires get to go and gather while people are starving and losing everything they have because it's somebody you like, and you dare call this person a fucking socialist? No, dude, it's just disgusting. And by the way, she posted this pic on Instagram yesterday, and it's the person who was tackled, knelt on, and thrown around at the Met Gala. So all she did in relation to the protest is post this freaking thing, this Instagram post. Oh, look, AOC cares. No, that was after the fact. She didn't do anything. She should have been outside protesting with those people, saying, how dare you have a Met Gala when people are starving and they just cut off unemployment on fucking Labor Day? How fucking dare you? She should have been doing that. That's what a real revolutionary would be doing. She is nothing but a cosplayer. Do you have anything to say on that?
No. I mean, let's keep rolling with it because this is good stuff. You're on a roll, girl.
So
keep going.
My fashion designer is an immigrant.
Oh.
Her fashion designer immigrated from Toronto. Now, I got to say a caveat here. Because Glory Jones made a good point. Glory Jones said, yes, there are a lot of people of color who are immigrants and they live in Toronto. That is very true. But so I agree. It's not that can't be true. You know, like I live in Florida, but I'm still an immigrant. That's true. Okay, fine. But the thing is, she didn't say any of that. She took it like, oh, this is a poor working class woman who I just helped out, and I did this because it's my people, and I'm a woman. Like, that's what she's doing. And yeah, so there's that. And then Danny Hellman posted this on Twitter. The designer of AOC's Tax the Rich stunt dress, Aurora James, is apparently worth $9 million and is apparently dating Bronfman Air worth $100 million. And you can see that. I don't know how accurate that is on her end, but I will tell you that on her boyfriend, right? The dude, he is worth $100 million. He's a descendant of the Lehman Brothers, and you can see his net worth is of $100 million there. Multiple sites list that. I mean, this guy is a descendant of the Lehman Brothers, and so you guys can see the next picture on Ramen and V
36,
where it's AOC, her boyfriend, and the Lehman guy and the designer. Yeah, okay, very working class group right there, right? Very, very working class, sure. And her wearing that dress with the little purse that also says tax the rich really just changes the life of working people who are getting evicted right now, of working people who can't fucking put food on the table for their kids, of working people who can't pay their medical bills. All of the things she ran on, $15 minimum wage, all of those things. She hasn't done a fucking thing to push for them. And I am sick and tired of people making excuses for her just because she was the socialist that was supposed to do something. Guess what? No politician is going to change things from the inside or from the top down. It's going to be up to us. And that's what you guys still haven't learned after 6 years of being sycophants to them. And so this is from her Instagram, right? And I want to like just show this. Somebody said, loved your dress, but what do you want to say to critics for attending the Met Gala? She said, I thought about the criticism I'd get, but honestly, I and my body have been heavily and relentlessly policed from all corners politically since the moment I won my election. That it's kind of become expected and normalized to me. The irony is when women in power take the prospect of criticism to be cautious in their actions, they are then criticized for being inauthentic, too calculated. Ultimately, the haters hated and the people who are thoughtful were thoughtful, but we all had a conversation about taxing the rich in front of the very people who lobby against it and punctured the fourth wall of access and spectacle. These people don't take you seriously seriously, they're not going to start taxing the rich, one. And again, they can just create more wealth even if they do. Honestly, our culture is deeply disdainful and unsupportive of women, especially women of color and working class women and LGBTQ and immigrant, etc. from the bottom up, whether it's lack of child care support, especially reserving. I mean, she just keeps bullshitting.
Yeah, she loves to play identity politics.
Yeah,
that's why I was laughing at the whole immigrant
thing.
But
it's like, it's true. Like, obviously, women of color and immigrants are working class and they do suffer. But that's not. But she's making it all about that to make it okay that she went to an event where billionaires are and did this whole thing. And by the way,
not wearing a mask. By the way.
Yeah. Well, exactly. So I want to read this from the Daily Mail because this is like something that a lot of people didn't talk about. So AOC was not given a free ticket to attend this year's Met Gala by Condé Nast, and neither was Mayor Bill de Blasio, despite the former's claim that she was invited as an elected official to the ultra-elitist 35,000 a head event. The socialist firebrand had justified her attendance at the elite event by suggesting she'd been invited to attend for free as someone who oversees New York City's cultural institutions. But DailyMail.com can reveal she wasn't given a free ticket. Sources who helped organize the event confirmed on Tuesday that neither she nor Mayor Bill de Blasio, who attended the event with his wife and son, were gifted tickets by Condé Nast, which means that it is likely someone paid for them to attend, but it's unclear who. Neither de Blasio nor AOC would reveal who footed the bill on Tuesday. So to all of you people say she didn't even pay for it, well, somebody did. Somebody paid for that. Why is a public servant getting $30,000 donation plus this other donation plus that? Who is footing this bill? Why are they doing that? Would they invite somebody that was an actual threat to the status quo, to the establishment, to these elites, to their own party? Do you really think they would invite somebody that is an actual threat? They fucking wouldn't. Okay, so she's breaking no fourth wall here. And just the last couple things.
This is what progressivism looks like.
Look. Performative, Cori Bush, AOC. I mean, the same fucking bullshit. And then the next one is AOC as Marie Antoinette. Let them eat cake. That's a great meme.
Yeah.
And the Babylon Bee, they have some of the funniest writers, I'm telling you. AOC writes tax the rich in the sky with her private jet. I mean, these are hilarious. And then pasta.
Yeah, I made it, fam.
You made it. Kim Kardashian has done more for poor incarcerated men of color than AOC. Changed my mind. And look, you look great there with your mug.
Thank you.
And then just my tweet, you're clearly not working class if you think wearing a tax the rich on a $12,000 dress does anything to help poor people. Go outside, go up to an unhoused person or a person getting evicted and ask them how much they care about AOC's dress. You classist liberal scum. I dare you. Go outside. Go see how much they care. And there it is. This is the one Jonny posted. The Activist, presented by Priyanka Chopra and Narendra Modi.
Fam, we got to go open a night. Let's go.
We got to go.
We got to go open a night. Man, we should make a skit.
Oh, my God.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to hold on to the super race till after this section because our guest is waiting
patiently.
He's patiently waiting. He is a friend of the show. He's one of our favorite guests we have on. I've hung with this man in D.C., held it down. He's so wise, got so much knowledge. Ladies and gentlemen, Garland Nixon is with us today. How you doing there, Garland?
Wonderful. But when you say wise, it makes me feel like you're saying old. He's so old. I mean, wise. Yeah, that's it.
Well, that's a kind word for the word old. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God.
Hey, look at my gray beard. I'm getting wise, Garland.
Okay, good. There you go.
Well, let's just jump
hope you don't get wise like us soon.
No, she got a while before she gets wise.
I think she's got a couple decades.
She's sharp. Right? She's sharp. We're wise. That's the age thing. Garland, thank you so much for coming out here today. I mean, we always stay in touch. I love your tweets. You've been on the show several times. We're in the same wheelhouse. We love to talk about foreign policy, civil liberties, the whole 9 yards. But you have a big announcement to make. You kind of made it already at the End of Damn Wars protest, but we're going to do it here on the couch today. What happened with you and the ACLU board? Give us the lowdown of what, when, why, and how come.
Yeah, well, I've been, for those who don't know, I've been affiliated with the ACLU since the 90s. I was on the national board of directors. I'm in Maryland. I'm on the national board. I'm on the board of directors for the state of Maryland. And I've been on the national board of directors for some time during the 90s. Early 2000s, I left for a while. I came back again later, but later in about the last 5 years or so, I've been on the national board of directors for the American Civil Liberties Union. And I like the ACLU, and to be honest, when you look through history, you know, a lot of the rights that we have and things of that nature, the ACLU has done a fine job. So that's great. However, you know, there's a term I think that I use a lot. And I think people, and this is why I guess a lot of people still stay with the Democratic or the Republican Party, because they don't have this term. The term is deal breaker. You know, it's about boundaries, and everybody should have a deal breaker, I think, when it comes to relationships. Well, it's all relationships, right? Relationships with people, relationships with organizations. You got to have deal breakers. Otherwise, you have no boundaries. And that's why I'm not, you know, hanging out with the Democratic Party anymore, because there were some deal breakers in 2016 with Bernie. The whole thing happened. I was a Bernie person. Deal breaker. Okay, fine. You can have your party, but you're not going to get any support from me anymore. Okay. All that to say, so I get to the ACLU. So the ACLU, which I've been on the board, and recently they put out an op-ed from a couple of people there at least one of whom I know well. And it was in the New York Times, and it talked about vaccine mandates, something that I opposed. And I felt that their position was outrageous. I felt that it was not something that I would expect from the ACLU, being a member of that organization and looking at the history of the organization. What you should expect from the ACLU is like an organization that is radical about civil rights. You know, that when everybody else says, well, I guess that's okay, the ACLU should be the one stand up in the room and say, oh, hell no, we'll fight against it. And even people that don't like the ACLU expect that from the ACLU. That's what you expect. You expect them to say, no, we're fighting against that, because that's just who they are. So when I saw the vaccine mandates, at minimum, I expected the ACLU to at least keep their powder dry. If they weren't going to come out and say we oppose it, which I felt strongly that the ACLU should oppose the vaccine mandates, I felt at least keep your powder dry, and then, you know, I can live with that. I could go out and say what I have to say on my own. The ACLU comes out with this, what I consider an over-the-top op-ed in the New York Times, and they, you know, fully supported vaccine mandates and even made statements that I feel were irresponsible. Because one of the statements that they made was this, very clearly: the vaccine is safe and effective. Now, here's what I have to say about that. That's a big statement in order to say that. Now, I don't know what's on the Pfizer website now. And this is not about the vaccine. Remember, this is about why I left the ACLU, and I'm just talking about what they said, because I research, right? When I see something, I'm going to research. I'm OCD, so I got to make sure it's perfect, right? Okay, so they're like, it's safe and effective. When I went to the Pfizer website, there was a frequently asked questions. Is it safe long-term? The answer was, we are observing the clinical trials, and I'm paraphrasing, but what they said was, we're watching the clinical trials, we're taking notes, and we're documenting the long-term safety and efficacy so we can. So Pfizer's position is it safe and effective? Is it safe? We're going to watch it over the long, and that's what I would expect from Pfizer. We're going to watch it over the long term, and we're going to document it. Because the truth is this: there's no way you could possibly tell until the long term comes. 10 years from now, you can say, yep, well, over 10 years, it does nothing, or it kills everybody. Who knows? But it takes 10 years to find that out. So when the ACLU says it's safe and effective, I'm thinking, well, whatever data they have that says it's safe, they need to share with the manufacturer of the vaccine, because apparently the manufacturer of the vaccine doesn't have that data, because they're watching it long term to figure it out. So I'm like, it's irresponsible in making that statement. I mean, you got to be some kind of a scientist, and you got to have data to say that something is safe. And you didn't say it was safe in the long term. You didn't say it was safe in the short term. You said it was safe. That means all of the above. That's one. The other thing was, they went on to basically imply that they understood that it was going to hurt minority communities, but it's still in their best interest. And I find that strange. And I find that historically consistent. You know, over the course of years, there's been a lot of laws that were passed that hurt Black or brown people first, Native Americans, whatever. And the government says it's in your best interest. Well, it ain't, but that's what the government says. So now I ended up like this. I look at it and I'm like, So now, just like in North Carolina in the 1960s, 50s, whatever, if you can have a situation where a couple of Black people walk into a place and say, give me a hamburger and a soda, and the proprietor says, we don't serve your kind in here. And the ACLU is on the side of the proprietor. Mm-hmm. And why is it important for people of color? Because in New York, the latest that I saw was young Black men were only 27% of that group was vaccinated, which means the majority, 72.9% of the young Black men now can get fired, literally lose their income. Yeah. Number two, they can be segregated. They're facing segregate. That's what this is. You're segregating the vaccinated from the unvaccinated. Okay. And I looked at that and I'm like, that's not a position the ACLU is supposed to take. It's supposed to say no. And now let me, there's a couple other things. Let me know if I'm rattling on too long, but I think this is
absolutely.
Okay. I think this is a critical part of what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. Here's the critical part, because I've been researching. I had to ask myself, can you argue that there's a logical health reason for the vaccine mandates? Is there a logical health reason to segregate vaccinated from the unvaccinated? If you can argue, whether I like it or not, if you really can argue that the vaccinated people can transmit the virus, they can get it, and the unvaccinated can get the virus and transmit it, and the vaccinated can't get the virus and can't transmit it, if that is so, then at least you have a logical argument for the vaccine mandate. I still may not agree with it, but at least you have a logical argument. But that's not so. And I will do this. Let me read. This is from Rochelle Walensky. She is the CDC, the director of the CDC. Here's what she says. Our vaccines are working exceptionally well. They continue to work well with the Delta with regard to severe illness and death. But what they can't do anymore is prevent transmission. So now we know, hey, wait a minute. They don't stop transmission. So what's the point of segregating vaccinated from unvaccinated if both groups can catch it? Now, next, you could make another argument. You could then argue, well, the vaccinated people are less likely to spread it if they get it. If they get it, the unvaccinated will spread it all over creation, but the vaccinated people barely get it. Well, let me read you something directly off the CDC's website. Today, some of those data were published in CDC's Morbidity and Mortality Weekly Report, demonstrating that Delta infection resulted in similarly high SARS-CoV-2 viral loads in vaccinated and unvaccinated people. High viral loads suggest an increased risk of transmission and raise concern that, unlike other variants, vaccinated people infected with Delta can transmit the virus. So the arguments for segregating vaccinated people from unvaccinated people are dispelled by the CDC's website, by the director of the CDC website. So the ACLU's position is not only is it, to me, not in keeping with a civil rights organization, it is illogical. It does not have a logical foundational base. All that comes together. So I said, I can't hang on with the ACLU. I love to be on the board. I enjoy being on the board. It's great. You travel, you talk to people, you're involved in important discussions and things of that nature. But that is fundamentally incompatible with what I believe in as a person. And in my opinion, I should not be associated with an organization that I feel is taking a position that hurts people of color, that hurts, and if you look at the numbers, the people that aren't vaccinated, people of color, people who make less money. So this is a position the government's going to take that's going to hurt the working poor, the poor, people of color. Well, that ain't no surprise. How many times do we see some kind of legislation that hurts people of color, the poor, the working poor, et cetera, and the working class? So I just, I submitted my resignation and I said, you know, I've enjoyed being with the ACLU. I've enjoyed working with the good people there. However, and I gave a short version of what I just said, I'm out.
Why do you think that the ACLU took this position? I mean, we did a video here comparing what they said. I think it was in 2008 or 2000. It was a while ago where they were arguing for civil liberties and how like you should never try to protect the people by giving away your civil liberties. They did this whole argument years ago, and then they contradicted the entire thing they wrote years ago with this op-ed. So why do you think the ACLU did this regarding the mandates?
Well, and I'm glad you said that, because it is conspicuous that they formerly took a position that was inconsistent with this position. And that's the question you have to ask yourself, why? I can only speculate. But one of the things, and you know, I'm pretty open. One of the things that I've said recently about the ACLU is, in my opinion, it seems to have turned into somewhat an extension of the corporate wing of the Democratic Party. And I'm not saying that there was some nefarious clandestine plot to infiltrate the ACLU, or it has to do with money. Nah, I would look at it more like this. The people, if you look at what the Democratic Party has become, right? It is the white collar people. It is the people with a bunch of acronyms behind their name. They're smarter than us. They're holier than the working class. They kind of, I mean, and I'm not talking about the ACLU, but that's who, you know, the kind of people that when we look at the bankers or the Silicon Valley people and we say, man, those are a bunch of elitist snobs. And they're like, no, those are my classmates. I remember that guy from Columbia, Harvard, you know what I mean? Penn, right? So I think the ACLU is populated with the people who now make up the Democratic Party. You know, there's not some underhanded trick going on here. That's who they are. I put it like this. If you've got a room full of people who are Rand Paul supporters, you don't need a plot to get them to vote for Rand Paul. They're going to vote for Rand Paul because that's what they do. That's who they are. That's their belief system. And I think the ACLU people are like, well, what about all the money? And what about, they've been getting plenty of money. They're loaded to the gills, right? That's, don't fool yourself. One of the wealthiest organizations you'll run across. But here's the reality. I think that's who they are. I think they really believe that stuff. It's amazing how the people who support the vaccine mandates, right, are oftentimes, more often than not to me, the most misinformed. They actually believe that the vaccinated people won't pass it on, even though it's right there on the CDC website. So that's who they are. That's what I'm saying. They are who they are. And this is how those kinds of people, and I'm not saying the kinds of people in a pejorative way, but people in that particular economic and social and educational class, that's kind of where they are.
You know, Garland, I don't know who you think you are coming on the Convo Couch, bringing facts and just reading them off to us over here. Like, you know, you got some nerve. And my next question was going to be, who are the people who influence the ACLU to go this way? And you kind of pointed out that it is that kind of elitist Democratic establishment party type people. When did this transaction start to take place? Because as you were talking about earlier, the way the ACLU stood for stuff, I also believe they stood for, it was okay for the Nazis to march in Illinois years ago. The ACLU kind of even protected their right for speech. When did they start this transition of becoming fascist of sorts?
Well, here's the thing about it. I think, and this is, you know, my humble opinion, I believe, you know, you saw there were those who wanted to take the Democratic Party in a more corporate and more, you know, take it towards the Bill Kristols of the world, right? And Trump came in, and Trump was the greatest foil ever for the corporate warmongers. They used Trump to scare all of the progressives and working class and scare people in line to take positions that they would never take before. I think that very dynamic came into play with the American Civil Liberties Union. As I said, they're, you know, a lot of them are really diehard, you know, supporters of the Democratic Party. And oftentimes you see the positions that the Democratic Party takes, you know, the ACLU. I mean, I tend to feel like if Joe Biden came out tomorrow and said, you know, we've changed our mind, vaccine mandates are wrong, and I don't want to do those things, that you get an announcement from the ACLU. Yeah, we'll sue anybody who does vaccine mandate. Now, I could be wrong, but it certainly appears that way to me, that they have become, you know, it's an extension of the Democratic Party. I think they feel like they're doing the right thing. but I don't think they are doing the right thing. In some areas, they are doing the right thing. But sure, let me change that. In some areas, they are. In this one, they're doing the very, very wrong thing. And as I said, not because of my moral compass. I don't expect an organization to go by my moral compass, but facts are facts.
Yeah, 100%.
It's crazy that Donald Trump even screwed up he frightened the shit out of the ACLU, it seems.
Well, Donald Trump was a weapon used to frighten, to instill fear on people and control. And that still continues today with everything related to politics. And I wanted to kind of touch on something important because people are kind of trying to fight back the non-electoral way. They're trying to organize. There was the March for Medicare for All. They organized a Assange protest, and now people organized an anti-war protest. You were just at that event and you spoke at the End the Damn Wars protest. Now, this was a controversial event, mainly because it included libertarians, conservatives, socialists, communists, and everything in between. And there was a group there that was involved, one of many groups that is known as the Boogaloo Boys. Now, the Boogaloo Boys have been, talked about as this right-wing fascist group. However, some of the attendants of the Boogaloo Boys have said, no, we're not. We don't support that. We don't support racism and bigotry and hate. One of the attendees, of course, is Magnus Pamvidia. We've interviewed him. So has Jimmy Dore. We got in a lot of trouble for just interviewing him. And he was one of the main organizers of his protest. And I want to ask you, why did you attend a protest knowing that you would be tied to this controversial group? And what did you see there as far as the unity of all these groups, just in essence of the anti-war movement?
I went to I tell you why. I went to the protest because I want to end the damn wars. Okay. Yeah. And I didn't vet everybody that's there. Oh, by the way, what organization do you, what am I supposed to do? Walk up with a survey for each person. Okay, what organization do you belong to? And what do you believe? What are you in favor of? Oh, I'm sorry, there's something that you believe in that I don't agree with. I'll have to leave. That's the absurdity. I was there and I didn't even know Boogaloo Boys or whoever, whatever, because I'm not really into that crap. I'm not really into all of these labels of this group and that group. It is what it is. Okay. So the guy, I saw him and I recognized that I'd seen him before. He walked up and, he said hi. We had a great little conversation. Okay. And it didn't even dawn on me. I saw this guy on Jimmy Dore before. So meanwhile, people are doing their thing. Had a great time. Got to talk with Max Blumenthal. I love Max. He's awesome. So
yeah.
Oh, he's the best. So at any rate, this guy rides up on a bicycle, black guy rides up on a bicycle and he's like, oh, what's going on here? So into them, oh yeah. He's like, I wanted to come and he's talking about this, blah, blah, blah. And he looks over and he goes, hey, isn't that guy one of the Boogaloo Boys? And I didn't even look. I'm like, I don't know who's who here. He's like, I don't know if I can come. That's the guy that Jimmy Dore tried to prop up. And I'm like, I don't know, whatever. I'm here. See that big picture of Julian Assange over there? Yeah. And the signs and the t-shirts in the war. I said, I'm here because of those things. Whoever else is here, jolly for him. I don't care who it is. Good for him. I wish more people were here. He's like, well, I can't stay here if the Boogaloo Boys is here. And off he goes. And I thought, okay, you just left an anti-war protest. Who would be happy about that? The warmongers. They would be happy to say, yeah, hey, everybody, there's a Boogaloo Boy over there. Well, I guess I can't protest war then. Guess I'll go home. And that's the absurdity of it to me. Abraham Lincoln said, basically, if there's, and I'm paraphrasing, of course, because God knows I'm not as eloquent as Abraham Lincoln, but he basically said, if I agree with you something, we'll work on that. And when we're done, if we don't agree, then we'll work on something else. One of the things I was trained in was how to run a nonprofit corporation and how to advocate for nonprofits, right? And one of the things is building coalitions. That's the number one thing. Build coalitions with other groups. Take your group and find lots of other groups. And now we got 10 people in our group. We got all these other groups. And now we got 100,000 people and we can influence it because we've got all these. You can't go group by group. Okay, well, I'm anti-war. What are you guys for? We're for something else. Well, I don't like that. We don't want you. If you're going to support us with anti-war, we're going to take it. And if you're gone, you're gone. But, I don't even get that whole thing. It is immature to me. And the ruling elite class has basically devolved a lot of the working class into warring street gangs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
West Side Story. And it's the Boogaloo Boys. It's Black Lives Matter. No, it's Antifa. Oh, it's what? That's silliness to me. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you, because you were talking about deal breakers in the beginning, right? I call them shit lines. Like, you don't cross my shit line, I don't cross yours. We cross the shit line, we got a problem. Is there a shit line or a deal breaker in which somebody could attend where you'd say no? Like, if David Duke was there and you saw David Duke, would you say, okay, that's enough? You know what I'm saying?
First of all, understand something. I am motivated by my beliefs. I am motivated by what's inside of me. So the people around me, you know, they can think what they want. I can't control that. I can control myself. I can control what I think. And if I have decided that and especially if I've been asked there to become a speaker, I'm going to go there and become a speaker. Let's not forget, for 10 years, I was on Fox all the time. You know, I was on Laura Ingram's show a couple times a week. I was on, you name it. The only show I really didn't go on was Hannity. Fox and Friends, you name it, I was on all of them. And I went on there, and you know what I did? I argued for Medicare for all. I argued against war. I did all that kind of stuff. I am who I am. And people would get mad at me. Oh, I can't believe you're going on Fox. Or they'd find out, hey, Garland, I hear you're on Fox News. Yeah, all the time. You know, how can you do that? I'm like, it's no different. To me, if I get on a phone with one of my friends, you guys know, I'm sure you're the same. You're on a phone with your friends and you're talking about the same crap that you're talking when you're in front of the camera. It's who you are. That's who I am. So I'm not going to be concerned with who's around me, whatever the hell, I don't care. You know what? If a group of Klansmen said, Garland, we'd like you to come speak, I would go speak to a group of Klansmen because I got important things to say. And maybe one of them, maybe some of them would hear me and say, hey, you know, man, you know, maybe those black guys aren't as bad as we thought. That guy seems like he's okay. I've had that experience before in my life with a person who everybody around me at work said, that guy's terribly racist. And I became friends with him. And another police officer, I was an officer, became best friends with him to the end. So no, I don't just throw people aside and give up on people. I do what I do because of what I believe in.
Yeah.
And do you think that Joe Biden, by the way, now shifting to this last question, because like I think I was looking for your take on the whole Afghanistan pullout. Do you think Joe Biden deserves any credit for pulling out of Afghanistan?
Well, here's the problem with that. You know, when you talk about if you individually take the pullout from Afghanistan by itself and completely, you know, dislocate it from all the rest of the policy, you can say, well, that's the right thing. But let's not forget Joe Biden saying, I want to pull them out. Why? So we can send more troops and we can menace China and Russia. So it's out of the frying pan and into the nuclear fire. Hey, yeah. I don't want to do this over there. Those guys don't have nuclear weapons. They can't annihilate everybody on you. Let's take these troops out and go over here where we can possibly ensure the annihilation of all of mankind once and for all. It's kind of hard for me to give that guy a thumbs up when, you know, his one move is, hey, I'm going to pull the troops from this area. Great. What are you going to do with them? We're going to go commit genocide in another country. So screw Biden and all of that stuff. See, here's the thing about it. When people give him credit, they're like, he pulled the people out of Afghanistan. Like, okay, but let's not forget on the other end of it, at the beginning, he was one of the voices for going into Afghanistan, going into Iraq, and going in any damn where and bombing the hell out of everywhere. So he was part of the group that created this problem. Now he's going to come out of one single country, and we're like, hey, there, he's a wonderful guy, but he's going to take those troops. They ain't coming back to Fort George G. Meade here 10 minutes from my house. I'll tell you that. They're going to basically cause, you know, it's funny. It's funny, I'll say this. All this hoopla that some guy, some book now saying that Mark Milley said, I think Trump might attack China, so I usurped the power of the president. And they're like, whew, that was a close call. Trump, that idiot Trump might have attacked China. Biden's surrounding China with bases and missiles and doing the only thing he hasn't done is fired a shot. And Mark Milley is going to get some kind of a humanitarian award because he thought Trump was going to do that. And might I add, Trump didn't do it. Trump never, and from what you see of Trump's history, there was no thought that Trump ever would do it. They got mad at Trump because he wouldn't attack Iran. And now they're going to say they thought it's absurd. Biden is just another one of the regime change monsters. It's a sad state of affairs. I will say this. The only option we have is the hawks and the ultra hawks. Biden is a hawk. You know, the Crystal and Hillary, they're the ultra hawks.
Ultra hawks, yeah.
They make Biden look good. That's a sad state of affairs. That's how far to the right this country's gone.
Yeah. Well, finally, just to wrap up too as well, I just a little bonus question real quick because I know you got to get out of here. Are you going on the MCSC network tonight? I want to get you out of here. Well, just everybody go over to Garland over there as well. Yeah, you are. And shout out to Radio Raheem for putting this together. We love Radio Raheem here. But as we were talking about China, what role, in your opinion, does China play in the world stage? I mean, are they an empire that we should be concerned with, or have they done things the right way, you know, taking their citizens, moving them out of poverty, not really having any military engagement with any other country since Tibet or Vietnam in the 70s and stuff? What is your opinions, and how should we view China on the world stage?
A couple of things. Number one, the United States surrounds China with bases, surrounds China with missiles, and now we're surrounding them with warships, and then we say they're a threat to us. We put a loaded gun to their head and then say they're threatening us. Number one. Number two, China is doing what they have a right to do. The United States is mad at China because China won't stay poor in the second class. At one time, I think it was in the early 90s or mid 90s, China was as poor as Haiti. It was a very poor country. They've raised $800 million out of poverty, and it's their business how they did it. It seems like basically, you know what they did? They did what we did under Roosevelt, which is massive amounts of money into infrastructure, for one thing, and built roads, built all those kinds of things, which gave people jobs and all kinds of stuff like that. They've done well. Might I also add that the U.S. and the European oligarchs closed down the factories and businesses that employed Americans and Brits and France, and moved all of their factories to China so they could make more profit, which they did. And then they blame China for accepting the factories and employing the people and getting wealthy. They make a fortune off of China, and then they're like, hey, wait, look at China. They're rich. You made them rich, and they have a right to be rich. And to me, China is not an empire like the U.S. China is a country. China is a nation. And when China has 100 bases, let me know. But they got one in Djibouti? Do they have another one somewhere? I don't know. So I don't see this as empire. And if you listen to the language, the United States sees China as a threat because of the Wolfowitz doctrine. The US wants to be the world's hegemon. And now China can say to Iran, don't worry about the sanctions. We'll work out a deal. They're working with Venezuela. They can give people an option so we can't sanction everybody, and we no longer run the world. That's the problem we have with China. And you know what I say? Go China. Do what you're doing. You got a right to do what you're doing, and don't listen to these crazy lunatics that are running this country.
That's a wrap. Thank you so much, Garland.
Thank you so much. You know, and anytime you want to come on over here, you know what I'm saying? Not only are you wise, but you're cool as can be. We love you. Come on.
Cool as a cucumber.
Cool.
Well, thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate it. I guess does MCSC am I going to get did they use Zoom also?
Yeah. Niko will hook you up. He'll do the same thing you did over here, and I'm sure you'll have a little bit of a different conversation. But we'll be watching. And thank you so much.
All right, thanks. Sounds a lot. I will be looking on my email and my text to see if it comes in.
You got it, Garland.
All right.
Have a great day.
You too.
Bye.
Thanks for coming on.
Well, that was great.
Garland is fire.
Yeah, it was a little like, are we going to get taken down? But no, that needs to be on YouTube. That was great. I'm glad you guys got to hear that conversation. So because we never talk about that stuff on YouTube, but he did it, and he was literally reading verbatim from the CDC website. That's never stopped them, but I'm just saying, literally reading from the CDC website. You know, we've talked about the ACLU. For me, I was a huge supporter of the ACLU for the longest time, and you know, like he said, they still get some things right, but they're totally corrupted by the Democratic establishment. This whole thing is extremely racist. It's extremely classist, separating those vaxxed from the unvaxxed. I mean, that's where we're headed. And make no mistake, California is headed that route now that Gavin Newsom won. And the liberals and the progressives, who are now the new liberals, are just embracing it blatantly. So.
Yep. Let's get these super rays and get out of here. We had over 400 on YouTubes. That's what happens, Sam, when you start talking fire on YouTubes. The people start coming. We have 125 on the Rokfin. We have about 10 or 8, 9 or 10 on Odyssey. Yeah, the coffee's coming up. Jesse Cuadoro Leon, thank you so much for the super ray contribution. Pasta, could you look into the candidate for mayor of New York City, Curtis Silwa? He was on Rising recently, and he's a Republican, and he supports a UBI, and he sounded like he might be up your alley. I know you aren't big on electoralism, but I would like you to see you have a conversation with him on the show. He's also Italian. I know who Curtis Silwa is, or Sliwa. He's the old guardian angel with the red hat. He gives an "Abbafangu," he said to Bill de Blasio. I know him very well. Yes, I'd love to have a conversation with him and have him on there. And I'm still into electoral politics.
I'm not, but he is. Yeah.
No, I'm into both. I just believe what Fee is saying is right. You got to take to the streets. Direct act is important. But in case we do have a revolution and we fix the whole election system, then we have to be in the habit and the practice of going out there and representing ourselves. Just think about it. If everything changed tomorrow, we have so many people who are trained to not go vote because they don't think it will make a difference. But if it did make a difference, we want them out there if they have something to say. Listen, there are people that don't vote that I don't want them to vote, and I'm happy that they don't vote, really. They don't know what the hell is going on. Oh, in fact, a lot of the progressives here in California, I wish they wouldn't vote because they don't know what the hell they're doing. But there's a lot of people who know a lot about what's going on, have a lot to say, but they simply don't participate because they don't believe that their vote even matters or counts. And that's something I would like to change, because that's something at the bedrock of populism and then what this country was supposed to be built on.
I don't think we're going to get there till after we overthrow this fascistic government. So that's where I'm at. And I agree.
I agree. But I want us to be ready.
The duopoly, too, like being a Republican or a Democrat, it's an automatic no for me. Automatic no. You're still perpetuating the two-party system, the illusion of the two-party system via the oligarchy. Don't run it as one of those if you want any sort of attention from me.
I voted for Danielle St. John yesterday, write-in candidate, and I was proud to do it. You know what I'm saying? On one particular issue. Well, two issues. Number one, she wasn't the establishment. Number two, she wanted to take back our resources of food. And that was something important to me. Like the mutual aid we always talk about. Let's grow our own food, take care of ourselves. Let's, make ourselves healthy. Let's not listen to the fucking corporations anymore that are just poisoning us every day with their words, their food, everything, even the water they fuck up. Trey Wright says, Jesus goddamn Christ, I cringed by that hard at that dude that said, yas, AOC.
I know, right?
He cringed so hard he had to come leave a Super Ray fan. Trey's like, I can't do it. He was pulling his hair out of his head.
James Starks, the Convo Couch received a tip. Thank you for the Super Ray, James. It's appreciated on this couch.
All right. Well, now you have to read OG North American Ape. Our homeboy, what's going on? You're going to read that one too as well now.
Imagine being so delusional that you believe that someone who was invited to an elite outing is somehow a threat to the elite. That makes no sense. Also, imagine trying to be one of these people that say, oh, she's bringing awareness to this issue. Yeah, awareness to an issue that the president of the United States himself pays lip service to. Clowns. Absolutely. Again, taxing the rich, it's an old thing. It's not going to happen. And if it does happen, they're just going to make themselves more money.
She hit it right on the nose. Both of you guys did. Thank you, OG. We love you. Tim L says, thanks for bringing on Mr. Nixon. People of principle like him need to be given a platform. Great job as always, fam.
We love Garland. He's great.
And MM says, Garland rocks. Everybody loves Garlands. Chuck Simon says, thanks for speaking with Garland. Excellent conversation. Keep fighting, Convo Couch. And Margaret Boo, thank you for the Super Ray contribution. It is always appreciated on the couch, Mom. And that's it for today.
Christ,
we had 125 people at the end of this broadcast on Rokfin, while there was still close to 421 people on the YouTubes, fam, and about 8 people hanging on out at the Odyssey. Anything to say to the girls and boys out there in Never Ever Land?
Stop paying attention to these politicians unless you're going to their houses, unless you are demanding them, not asking anymore, demanding they actually do their jobs. Do not sit for politicians. They're not your friends. We have no friends in Congress. None. Zero.
Yep.
Mandates are racist and classist.
And they're on the way.
And they're wrong. And all coming. Of the independent media being okay or silent on that. Watch who those people are. Start watching who is talking about these things that could cost them their career. These things that really could cost us being shut down. Look at the people who are getting their channels demonetized and shut down. Understand the people that are being attacked and smeared. That is all for a purpose. That is all for a purpose. It's because we are getting the message across and people are seeing it and they don't want that to happen. So join the fight. There is no voting out fascism. There's only actually going out in the streets and defeating it. So.
And all you did was maintain fascism, because fascism is merging states with corporation. And Gavin Newsom is the biggest corporate fucking shill there ever could be. Those people put him in power and stuff. And also these independent journalists or independent media companies that are arguing for vaccine mandates and for the vaccines, maybe they should read the CDC website, because everything that Garland read, and this is something we've been talking about from the get-go, was saying on the CDC website, ladies and gentlemen, on Pfizer's website, on Moderna's website, read the actual websites. You want to talk to doctors? Talk to doctors who have actually took care of patients with ivermectin and all these other things. I don't want to say that. I can't say that because we're on YouTube's, but just look at what's going on. You guys are exposing yourselves, you independent media journalists, as just fucking cuckboys of the mainstream media. It's so obvious to us that you really want a job with them.
They do.
So I don't know. So let us know. Keep us informed, Walker Bragman. Has MSNBC called you yet? We want to know. Our fans want to know. Good luck on that.
The intercept sucks.
Yeah, the intercept does suck, and that's that. So that's it for today. Oz, did you want to talk about anything? You want to plug some Roar Media? You want to plug To Hell and Back? People want to hear your voice. They want to see the overalls, but they'll settle for your voice. What do you got?
I don't know if you can even hear me, but no, we got Hunter C tonight. On the counter narratives, and then Hell and Back. We're still looking for a replacement for you, Pasta, but Shanda won't let me replace you. So,
good.
Anyway, great show today, guys. Thank you so much for letting me help you out.
Dude, you help us out. Thank you for helping us out. This is what fam means. Oz, you are fam. Roar is our fam. And this Thursday on To Hell and Back, we're going to talk a little bit about Moderna, but Shanda's also going to do a little report on psychedelics and some other stuff, fam. So you might want to watch.
Ooh.
So for Pasta Jardula,
Fiorella,
Johnny Sue on those 1s and 2s. Oslin. Oz from Roar Media, we love him.
He's Johnny by like
Johnny Sue, we love you though. So Oz, play us on out. You got a little clip? Go ahead and do it, big dog.